Technology is a huge part in everyone's daily life. Everywhere you look, it seems that everyone's always on their phones, whether you're on your cell phone, your tablet, or your computer. It's becoming a big part in everyone's life. Almost every part of school has it. Through kindergarten to 12, someone hasn't. They all have iPads or laptops or whatever it may be. Students use all different kinds of technology in schools. Even teachers are starting to use projectors and to take notes on, and laptops, and just as much as the students. In regards to students, I believe that technology does more harm than good. My first reason why that technology does more harm than it does good is that you're always staring into a screen to start with, not during school, but after school, before school, on your dinner breaks, whatever, study halls. Students are always looking at their cell phones. So throwing a computer in front of them to do their homework on just is that much more screen time. For example, 12% of 2 to 4 year olds have access to either a cell phone or a tablet or a computer to keep them busy during the day. It's just an easy way to entertain them. That shows that students, even at a young age, it's starting to play effect on them because younger, as they're growing into it, they're always on it. Not just during school when they're young, little. It doesn't seem like a big deal right now, but it could play a pretty big role in their life when they get older. Students are always on their phones to begin with, so adding more and more into the school just makes it that much worse for the students and adults. You can do almost everything on your phone these days. For example, like over 90% of adults and 60% of teens own their own device, whether you own an Android, iPhone, or anything. It's very popular just to have apps, social media apps, even if it's not going off or you're not getting a call or text. You're constantly on it. They got games now these days or social media apps, whatever it may be. It's to keep you busy. Even when you have spare time, you're looking at your phone, scrolling through Facebook, looking at Snapchat, doing it all. Technology is advancing and increasing more and more in schools. So you're starting to lose that face-to-face conversations that you might have. Students are relying on like Facebook Messenger, Snapchat, and text messages to communicate. If you don't talk face-to-face during school, you might not be able to do it when you need it in a job. Because if you have a job, you're going to need face-to-face conversation. If you're interviewing someone or meeting them for the first time, that first little face-to-face conversation you have kind of tells you a little something about that person. And as the technology is advancing, this is starting to go away in our lives. As technology is getting very expensive and it gets outdated very fast. All this technology in schools, it would take a lot to supply every student, which most schools are starting to, but they haven't realized that these computers and tablets are going to be outdated probably in a couple of years. And that it's going to get very expensive. For every child to have, an iPad, I think is what they're starting to use now, that would cost the school some serious money. But that's what they say it's easier to learn on. Most schools would like you would think, to learn one-on-one or with a group, small group. And laptops, they seem to be getting more and more expensive. So, as a new one comes out, the one you have seems to slow down or start to have issues, viruses, whatever it may be, that they're almost forcing you to go buy a new one. So you have to upgrade. If they save some of this money that they use every day on technology, they could maybe put it towards some of the school supplies and winter clothing for some of the students that can't afford it. It'd probably help them out quite a bit. In regards to all this, there are very few reasons why people are having a lot of technology in schools. One reason I think that it's good for students to have, one reason that students have grown up looking into screens. Although they have grown into them, it does show that they can have some effect on their eyes and their sight. I would say that Yes, many communications are online nowadays. However, that if you have a job, you're going to have to communicate with your coworkers more than likely. And if you're starting to lack that communication skill, you're not going to be able to have a one-on-one, face-to-face conversation with any of your coworkers. There are many good and bad parts to technology in schools. Technology does, I think it does do more harm than good. If we continue to use as much technology as we do, we're going to end up with some health problems. Like, they're going to have, you can probably go blind from this. And the schools, they're going to need some money. Some of the smaller, my school is tiny, so they don't have as much students, they can't get as much money, but they still want to keep up to date with the rest of the schools. Then, lastly, the students are going to lose a very important skill in lack of communication.